Alright guys, how are we? John is trying to watch our intro live on YouTube, so bear with him for a second.
Give me a sec.
Wait, it's on
Here we
now, it's
go.
on now. There you are.
It's on now.
Hey, what a new intro.
Oh my god, look at my head.
It looks
I
killer.
look surprised.
It looks killer. You do look surprised. The surprise must be United must have scored a goal when we took that
Oh
photo.
yeah. If only, if
If
only.
only. So, how's it going to everyone in the chat? Big Man's there. Johnny G's even in the chat. Rob's here. How are we to everyone?
Yes, yes. How are we?
Whoa. You know, how are you? We were on the watch along together. You've had a few.
We
What
were.
have you had, a day or two to digest all that? What are your final thoughts after that?
Um, I think I've checked out just like the United players. I think season's over. Just looking forward to pretty much Premier League being over, really, and I'm excited that there might be, you know, daylight at the end of the tunnel, if you want to put it that way. Um, Well, Ten Hag is not nailed on. I heard, I think you mentioned earlier before we went on air that it could be finalised at any moment. Um, so yeah, just I'm pretty over it, man. The players, for me, are being very unprofessional. They're not playing for their Guernsey. Uh, just softness. There's no character about them at the moment. It's hard to pick my. I used to have many favourite players at United, and now seems like I just hate majority of them, and yeah, they're not making me enjoy my football at the moment.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like I think I said it to you on the watch along. My favorite player is De Gea, and I heard Goldbridge
Mm.
say on the United stand yesterday. He goes, if I was a football director now, he goes, I would sell every player except De Gea. He goes, that's how I feel about this team. So it's not just us saying it; it's fans around the world pretty much saying it. What I don't get is how they've definitely checked out. The whole world's saying it. They said it on ESPN. They've said it everywhere. They have definitely checked out. But what gets me the most about it is, I'll play soccer. You play soccer at a, nowhere near level that these guys play at, and I give my all every game, getting nowhere near as much money as them. These guys getting paid
Mm.
millions to do what they love for the biggest club in the world, and they're not putting an effort
Yeah,
in. How much of a disgrace is that?
it is a disgrace. I mean, um, these players get paid so much money, and they play for one of the biggest clubs in the world. The World Cup's on this year. I get it. Top four is mathematically still on, but yet they're acting like they're mid-table and it's sort of done. I have mentioned before that I don't think obviously we don't deserve top four, and I don't think we should even get top four. But it's okay to lose matches. You know what I mean? But to put in the effort that they did as a collective team was just not good enough, and to lose like that I know it was only 1-0 on paper, but it felt like a 5-0 sort of loss because of the effort that we showed in
Yeah,
that match. To have It's just deflating. They should really scrap all of those players, or majority of those players, for the rest of the season and play the kids. You know what I mean? So just say, hey, you're not going to put your heart and soul into the game. Well, we're going to put the kids in who want to play and who are some talented kids in there, and that's how we should go from this moment forth to the end of the season. So that's in my
yeah,
opinion about
I
that.
totally agree. Before we comment on that, we got a few people saying they need to buy you a new planner, man. They reckon it's you that is why we're late, because I could have blamed you, so that might be the reason they believe that.
I think
I think
I
he
think
was
I
on
was on
time.
time.
So Rob says, exactly how many are there since Sir Alex? And I would say De Gea, Phil, Phil Jones.
Lingard,
Lingard wasn't a first team, but he's from the youth.
yeah, you could say
Pogba was
Pogba
a youth
really,
player,
maybe.
but left under Sir Alex and came back under Mourinho. But I'd say, let's say, first team is Jones and De Gea. I think
Hmm.
off the top of Ronaldo, you say Ronaldo, I guess. Can't you say Ronaldo now is a player that. Yeah, he
Yeah, I
played
suppose. Yeah.
under Sir Alex. The big man says, will a win next week
Yeah.
erase this loss? Definitely not. Zakal says
Nah.
hi to both of us.
Hello,
Zakal's next
hello.
level, man. And yeah, so like I think it was Rob said it in the live chat when we're doing the watch along. Like, surely these players can be docked wages or something for checking out like this.
Well, uh, I mean, if they're purposely doing it and you can prove it, then yes. But obviously, it's hard to
Yeah,
do something like that. Um, I mean, it just shows their character for a lot of these players. Um, I think if Mark said sell them
oh
all, then it's not far
yeah,
off,
no,
man. Like I feel like you're going to start again. I think there's probably a few players in there that you could
yeah,
build upon, but majority of those players, yeah, they don't want to be there. I wouldn't play
no,
Pogba
I
again for the
agree.
rest of the season
Yeah,
that's for sure. Um, Maguire, you know, I just I
well,
just can't take him, man. I don't know what it is. I just can't
I
take
don't think anyone
Maguire
can. But you know,
anymore.
the point I've made it so many times, John, is surely Ranić is being told he has to play him. Otherwise, why would he pick him? And then my argument to that is Ranić is not going to be manager in a month and a half. So why is he listening to them? What's the worst they can do? Sack him? He's not getting the job anyway. He's not getting the job
Yeah,
anyway. So do what you
yeah.
want and out the Glazers for the fools that they are. Pick who you want. Play how you want. Don't. I just. It makes no sense to me. Rob says the lack of movement off the ball
Yeah.
is virtually junior level for United. The player on the
Right.
ball should always
He's
have
right.
an option left, anchor, right, forward. That's his I think that's a lot of coaching philosophies too, Rob. Zakal was asking if we watched the highlights for the City Liverpool game. I actually watched the game, and it just makes me sad watching our two biggest rivals, battling it out for a title. It's just Mr. Laughlin's
Yeah,
here.
no,
He says hello.
ridiculous.
How are my favorite YouTubers? I'm good, man.
Hey, hey, hey. Ho, ho,
Mr.
ho.
Laughlin is here. He's streaming from his private island. It's worked out well.
He's a funny guy.
He is, man. Rob says, as a theatre actor, paying audience deserves as good as your best performance. Every performance, even if only 10 people show up. Exactly. The United players should be given their best no matter what, no matter what. Mr. Laughlin says he's good. Back to our questions. So, moving on from that we say we both agree, and I mean, everyone in the chat agrees. Rob watched the game with us. Mr. Laughlin doesn't even know about soccer. He could see that we were fuming during the game. The news ESPN have said, Mark Ogden, who is the Manchester correspondent, has said Ten
Mm.
Hag is confirmed. Fabrizio
Yeah.
Romano has said it. They said they're just not allowed to officially do it because Ajax and PSV are in the cup final, I believe, this weekend. So they don't want
Yeah.
to
Okay.
ruffle any feathers or
Yeah.
something. What is he coming into? Is the question I ask. What as a manager he's coming into this, either he's looking at it thinking I can be the man that gets United back on top and be a god, or I just what's there for him? What's he coming into? What's he got to do?
I mean, look, Man United, you know, is a dream job for most people. I think for majority of people, to get the chance to manage Man United and also to be that guy to revive them will be,
You'll be a god.
up there with Sir Alex Ferguson. You could be up there with the
You'll be a god.
Ferguson
Yeah.
name. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you do that, so there's that sort of appeal to it. But I've been reading a lot that he's demanding to have 100% control. I'm not sure if that's just paper spin
Yeah, I don't know.
or
I've read it as well. Yeah.
so. Look, I don't know why we can't go back to the days where managers did control who's coming in, who's coming out, who's their backroom staff, who's training him on the pitch, this, that, and the other. It's complete control in that sort of regard. I get, they're not going to control sponsorship deals and all this sort of stuff. That should be for the board to do, and the board to produce funds for the manager. So if they get that mix right for Ten Hag, then it might work out. He's going to get an opportunity, I think, because of the mass exodus leaving the club already, that he can't really prevent anyway, because I think 4 or 5 players are definitely leaving
Yeah,
with their contracts running up anyway.
absolutely.
So there's going to be a lot of salary cap opening up. So if he gets to choose his players to bring in, and he's given the time, I know Man United supporters and me, myself included, we do get frustrated sometimes when results aren't going our way. But look, they're saying it's a 5-year plan. I think United probably need a 5-year plan from the position we're in. Um, yeah, so look, if he gets all that and it gets the right mix, you know, I think you, I think he'll do well, and I think he'll be happy being the United manager.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think you froze a bit on the stream there, but we'll try to fix that. Don't know what's going on there. I think they can still hear
My
you, but your head
internet.
has. No, I don't think it's your internet. I think it was something with the Skype thing. Like it's been having problems since they updated Skype lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it's your
Oh,
internet. I
sure.
don't think it's your internet at all. It's because your volume, everything's coming through. I can see you coming through fine. Oh, we'll try that one.
Yeah.
I can see you back. You're back here now, which is good. Yeah,
Mate.
so yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Like, he's, um, yeah, I've read the things that he's demanding, this and that, but like, listen, he works under Edwin van der Sar, at Ajax, which is like he's a director of football, but I think what you're saying is spot on. They got to get the mixture right of, this guy who they got to be in cahoots, let's say, of the players they want. You know what I mean? The players they're bringing in, like they got to be in agreement of who they're bringing in, so they can get the correct players in. Don't go for these huge signings like we always do. You know, go get players that want to play for the club. Like I
Yeah.
said, I know Varane is a massive player. He's a big time player. He's won the Champions League 4 times and that, but he wanted to come to us. He said it and he
Yeah.
announced that he rejected big clubs to come to Man United. You know what I mean? So you got to get players like that want to be there.
Yeah, definitely,
It's like,
100%.
I just
So
to me,
it's about finding
yeah.
that
And
mixture,
to me, I don't know who doesn't want to play for a big club anyway. Like you're getting picked up from somewhere else. I don't, I don't get it. Mr. Jazzman is in the chat, man. He says, "What up, lads? Jazzman, how are
Jazzy, how are ya?
ya?" He says Chris asked him how he's doing. He's not doing too good still, man. Another week of rest, he reckons. Once back on his feet, we shall jazz, he says.
Hey, hope you have a speedy recovery from the sea, man. And
And
yeah,
then Zakal has to rub salt in our wounds, and he says, "KP and Johnny, your team lost to Essendon by 4 points yesterday, so our weekend just."
well, that'll be talked about tomorrow.
We'll
We'll
talk about
talk
that
about that
tomorrow, but
tomorrow.
our weekend did go from
Yeah,
bad to worse in the sports department, so you know
yeah, yeah.
it is what it is. But so now I've heard today there's talks that teams could come in and hijack the Ten Hag thing. Do you, in your head, are you from the reports you hear, and are you 100% confident that he's going to be the next manager? I mean, ESPN can't announce something like that, I think, and it not be true. That's what I think.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Mark Ogden, I think
Yeah,
announced it, and it's yeah, you sort of you die by the sword, I think is the term. If he gets
he's
this one
done.
wrong, because he started, once he announced that, I think YouTube went crazy, Twitter went
Yeah,
crazy, and pretty much saying Ten Hag to
yeah,
United
yeah, yeah.
everywhere. So he's the one who started this chain. Um, I'm thinking what teams can come in for him. I'm not sure.
Well, there was a lot of talk about Real
Uh,
Madrid earlier, right? But I mean, Ancelotti's flying at the moment,
yeah,
so Ancelotti ain't going nowhere.
yeah,
He's proven to the world that
yeah,
he's one of the best coaches in the world. He's proving that, so he ain't going nowhere. PSG, possibly. I don't know.
Mm.
But
I think there's too much smoke in
yeah,
this one, really, for not to go
I
to
agree. And the
United.
only other one I could say, because of what's going on with them, there's a bit of uncertainty around Chelsea, let's say, because of all the stuff with Abramovich and all that,
Yeah,
the
that's a good point.
sale. Don't know what's happening there. But other
Yeah,
than that, I mean, Xavi is the coach of Barca. He ain't going nowhere. So the big teams, Allegri just started
mm,
again with Juventus. All the big teams are pretty
yeah,
much, taking Nagelsmann, Bayern Munich. So, it
yeah,
doesn't. Yeah, I know what you mean. It seems like it's pretty nailed on. I think so.
yeah. I think it's gonna be definitely difficult for Ten Hag. I think he will be the manager,
Yeah,
by the
I
way,
think it
because I
will
think
be.
there's
Yeah,
too much talk about it. He's had two interviews as well with Man
yeah,
United.
yeah.
Um, but it's gonna be difficult. I remember Frank de Boer. I think he blitzed. Was it with
Same thing.
Ajax?
Yeah, same thing. Not as
And
good
he
as
come to
Ten
the
Hag did,
Premier.
but he did do well. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not as good, but he come to the Premier League, and I don't think he
No,
lasted
I think he
five
got
games.
sacked. I think he lost the first 10, didn't he? You might be right, but I think it was 10 and then got sacked. Yeah, yeah. It could have
Yeah,
been 5. I don't know.
yeah. So look, the Dutch league compared to the Premier League is a different ball game. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So I don't think we're going to see Man United, completely change over one summer, and it's a matter for the fans to sort of understand what's happening and try and trust this manager. And I think we're going to have a bumpy road until we see his
yeah,
success in years
yeah.
to come.
I totally agree. See, there's another thing I wanted to like touch on with you. So Rob says put it in the chat. He says Ten Hag is looking to bring 3 or so Ajax players with him. That's obviously what they've heard. He says Onana, who is a goalkeeper, Anthony, we've talked about that before.
Mm.
Mazraoui, Timber, and Martinez. I think Martinez is a centre back. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
I think Timber is as well,
There you go.
actually.
Yeah. So,
I think Timber is a
yep.
centre back.
So, I mean,
He's a
yeah,
young one, centre back.
yeah. I think it's Julian or something like that. Julian Timber or something. But listen, I'm not going to go and say like we did last time with Ranić. I'm not going to sit here and say, listen, I know everything about him and everything about them. I know about Anthony. I know about
Mm.
Onana. Little bit about Timber Martinez. Not too much, but man, I would welcome them with open arms. A couple centre backs. Even Henderson's going to go. Does Onana want to come and be second fiddle to De Gea? Maybe
Well, I
Ten
don't think
Hag
you
wants to
get.
replace De Gea.
Well, I was going to say, like, you don't get Onana to come as a
No,
number
no,
two,
no
I don't
way.
think, and I don't think he's better than De Gea. So I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I think
you're going to have two number ones at the
what
helm.
I think that is the English media again, because the English media have been on De Gea's back for years. Every time something goes wrong, oh
It's been
yeah,
happening
every
for
time something happens, oh De Gea's bad with his feet. This. They always, what they're like with
yeah.
him.
His distribution, what is distributes the
Yeah, they
ball.
always get onto him about that, and that's what makes us concede 5 goals to Liverpool. Not Maguire doing pirouettes to nobody, but you know, Dobster is in the chat, man. He
Mm.
says hello. He says I don't know
Lobster,
anything
what's
about
going on?
football. He goes, but I'm happy to be here. There you go. And he says, what's going on? Rob says, planning the World Cup podcast for Wednesday, guys. Please join in for that on Wednesday. Me and Rob will be live.
There you
Yep,
go.
and he's into motorsport, Dobster saying, but he comes and supports us, so what a nice guy. Rob says Martinez
He's a
and
nice
Timber
guy.
both central defenders, so yeah, we were right there. And Mazrui a
Yep.
right fullback, so mate, I'll take him with open arms too. I haven't even don't know much about him, and I bet you he's better than Wan-Bissaka and Delo. I wouldn't even question it.
Well, I think we do need a centre back
Yep,
and a right back.
100%.
So, well, Anthony is a right winger, and we just spent 70 million on a right winger.
Yeah, I don't know
So
about that. Yeah,
figure that
yeah.
one out.
You know, uh,
Mm.
Rob says this is the question. I'll say as well. Rob says, where is United going to get decent midfielders from? And I said it to you during the watch along. So if Ten Hag gets the job,
Mhm.
Donny's going to stay at United, isn't he? Because he
Well,
made him.
I'm pretty sure he will because we're going to
Yeah,
lose a few midfielders this summer. So even if we keep Donny, we're going to need another
yeah, I
midfielder or
agree.
so to replace. Like McTominay and Fred are probably the
Yeah,
only two who are going to stay, and the rest, Matic is getting
I
on,
think
and
he's going. Yeah,
Pogba's leaving, Lingard's leaving, Mata. even though he come on against Everton, he was the only one that looked like he was trying out there when he come
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
field. I think, yeah, obviously Matt is not good enough. I don't know if he would want to stay at the club to play 10 minutes here and there throughout the
Yeah.
season. So look, there'll be plenty of spots up for grabs. I haven't been following Donny van der Beek's progress at
Listen, he
Everton.
did well at the start,
I
and then
know
he
he
got
started.
injured. He wasn't allowed to play against us, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, look, you can't buy all the players in one summer. I get that, but I think they should just get rid of as many players as they can that just don't want to be at United and get some quality players in and maybe promote some youth. It's obviously worked in the past with youth with us. We've got some young talented players in our youth
yeah.
setup. Um, but there's lots of bargains to be held to be bought in this summer. There's a lot of contracts running
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
out all over the
yeah.
place. Some reason players are just running down their contracts now because they get better deals that
It's the
way.
new Vogue thing to do, isn't it? It's
So
the Vogue thing to do. Run your contract
yeah,
down, and
yeah. So I think Kamara's on
yeah.
free. I think all these players are on free. I think Kessie is
I
even
think
on
he's
free.
agreed terms with someone. If I not 100%.
No, I think he's gone to
Yeah, I
Barca, I
think he's
reckon.
agreed. I think I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sure, but
yeah.
I have heard that.
So he would have been a great,
Ah,
to persuade him to come. He would have been a good
of
CDM, you know what I
course.
mean? But I think United, they can't buy anyone when they haven't got appointed their
I
manager.
agree.
So I'm glad to me, if they bought in January and then gave the job to Ten Hag,
Yeah,
well,
he might not want that
did
player.
Ten
Yeah,
Hag
yeah,
want that
that's
player?
right.
Yeah, so
Well, the
it's a big summer.
yeah,
It's a big summer coming up,
huge.
and there's no international football, so there's no excuses.
That's right.
So you get your shit done, and yeah, fix this team as much as you can, and then build on it from there for the next couple transfer windows, and
Oh yeah,
yeah,
spot on,
do what you have to
spot
do.
on. You've hit the nail on the head. Like we spoke about it again during the watch along. Like, why doesn't United, like Rob has mentioned, the midfielders? Why doesn't United go for some players like Rob was saying it here? In the Serie A, Bundesliga, Portuguese league, they're all affordable. Or play, like we mentioned James Ward-Prowse. Why do not they?
Yeah,
James Ward-Prowse is 26, I think, 25, 26. He's captain of Southampton. He performs every
hmm
week, so he's a leader. And go get a player like that, like we did, like Roy Keane come from Nottingham Forest. They'd done
yeah.
stuff. They were on the down. Sir Alex signed him from Brian Clough. He ends up being our captain, and whatever. Like, go get these players that are ready to take the next step. So that's just one off the top of my head, for example. Just surely there's
I mean, Liverpool. Yeah, when Liverpool's a prime example of what you're trying to
spot
say,
on.
they took the chances on people like Mane, Van
Salah,
Dijk,
Salah come from
Robinson,
Roma, which is a lesser
and
club, isn't it?
yeah, Salah. And they're poaching people from your
Yep,
Jota and all
Jota,
these
yep.
people from the clubs below them. And as soon as they got to Liverpool, they've gelled with Klopp's system and stepped up a level to world
Yeah,
class. You know what I mean?
100%.
So United used to do that, but now we we buy players who sell papers and get the media, social media going crazy, sell the
Yeah.
shirts. We're just too much business minded, and that's the problem with the
I
ownership we
agree.
have.
So before I touch on the player that there is massive rumours about that they reckon we're front of the line for, which is a midfielder, I'm going to answer Rob's question. He says there has to be some decent players in the championship, surely. And the perfect example for that is where did Jude Bellingham come from? He's the golden boy of
Yeah,
England at the
that's right.
moment. He was playing in the championship for Birmingham, who were not even doing good. They were
Oh,
playing
we
10th,
tried.
or they were 10th, 11th.
Yeah. To be fair, we tried to
We
get
did,
Jude,
we did, but
and he chose
yeah, yeah.
Dortmund. In that sense. Yeah.
And the other player that they're talking about, they reckon we are massively leading the race at the moment. He's running down his contract, and he's not going to be a free agent, but he's going to be a free agent the year after, so he's should come at a cut price. Is Yuri Tielemans.
Mm,
Now,
mm.
for me, Yuri Tielemans walks into Man United's team. I don't know about you, and it's a step up.
Yeah,
It's
I
from
think so
Leicester. It's
too.
a step up in that.
Yeah, I think so. I think Yuri Tielemans is a good talent. I think he's only mid 20s as
25, I
well.
think. Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you get a good deal for Yuri, definitely. I think we've been linked to him in the past, so man, there's definitely interest there from Man United.
Yeah,
Uh, look, good player, and yeah, he would definitely walk into our team. I think over McTominay. I think Fred has shown a lot this season. He's really surprised me with his
yeah, I agree.
performances. So look, good on Fred. But McTominay for me, you can't.
He's terrible.
I've heard the profession. I've heard our ex players always rate McTominay. I just don't know what they're seeing. I can't. I just don't get it. If you want a person just to kick the ball
Yeah, I know.
sideways and have a good game in every 10 games have a
Yeah, I
good
know. I
game,
know.
that's fine. But that's not good enough for Man United, who should have ambitions to have a title challenge every
Yeah, I
year.
know.
You don't see Kevin De Bruyne having one good game in
Oh,
games. You
100%.
don't see Rodri having a good game one game in
100%.
games. So consistency and playing well consistently makes you a world class
Yeah,
player. And yeah, we've got far from few of them in our
yeah,
team.
100%. So, and Rob says on what we're saying, Tielemans still getting better. He's a starting 11 for Belgium,
Mhm.
And the other one I say, like we said, you said about Jota. What about Neves? He's at Wolves. They got Jota for
Mm.
40 million or something. Why can't we go get Neves for that? Why do we have to go spend 80
That's
million on Rice when you can spend half that on Neves or Tielemans? Or Tielemans is probably Leicester, in fairness, will ask for a bit, but he will come at cut price because he's running his contract down. So,
yeah.
you know,
You can just see it now, like United spending the whole budget on
yeah,
Rice, and then okay, here you go have a
yeah, I
title
know,
race.
I know,
Um, it's just so silly. Like, if say we've got 100 million, they should try and spread that out as much as they
definitely.
can.
With
You know what I mean?
if they've got a
Yeah.
100 million budget with players going, because the wage bill is going to plummet. Pogba, Lingard, possi-
Especially if
possibly
Ronaldo
Ronaldo.
goes
That's what I was going
without
to say.
Kane.
The wage bill,
Yeah.
and Henderson wants to leave. He's going to be sold. Henderson's surely going to fetch some money. People want him. Like
Mm.
gain some money and try get three, four players out of that. Do you know what I mean? Not like you said,
Yeah.
one player and say, "Oh, here, go enjoy." Rob says, "What about players from
Yeah.
Scotland? Celtic scored 7 again. Good old Ange got his team. They pinged it. So
Well, I think the low plays in the Scottish League at the
Diallo,
moment.
yeah, for Rangers, yeah.
Diallo.
He's there. He's on loan from
Yeah.
us.
Look, I'm not trying to knock the Scottish League, but yeah, it's hard to find a killer player in
Well,
there, I
didn't
guess.
the bloke from Arsenal? Didn't he come from there? Their left back was he from Scotland?
Uh,
Tierney,
yeah, it could have been. Could have been.
Tierney. I
Yep.
think he was
Yep.
at one of
Yep.
them, Rangers or Celtic or something. But I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. 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 Look, I don't know the Scottish League that well, obviously, so can't picture anyone top
Yeah,
of
no,
my
I'm
head.
the same. I don't follow it that much, so I follow it to
Yeah.
support Ange at the moment. That's about it.
I know the French league. The French league have got a couple good
Oh,
midfielders going
definitely,
on in
man.
there.
Chouamini is there. That's one. There's a few good ones, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So I think they're looking at that. Is it Nkunu
Yeah,
and Nkunu?
In Cuckoo and Chouamini they're looking at. Yeah, yeah. And Cuckoo's is
Yeah.
he at
Yeah. Yeah.
Leipzig, I think? And yeah, something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. Yeah.
meant to be good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Rob says based on what he's seen culturally, Asian, South American, and African players give their heart and souls for teams. I tell you what, I watched Jisung Park every time he went on the field for United, give his heart and soul. So
Class.
like
Class.
there's. And Chris says, is this a long-term plan for United, or is next season looking good? I actually think that's a real good question. I think it's a long-term plan
Well,
personally. No, they ain't winning anything
yeah.
next season. Put it that way. Maybe a cup. Maybe.
Put it this way: if Ten Hag somehow gets us into a title race next season, extend his
Oh,
contract, do
definitely.
something because
Well, that's the question I was going to
you
put
know.
to you and to the people that the football followers in the chat. They've been bringing it up a lot lately.
Mm,
Jose Mourinho said finishing second with this Man United team was one of his greatest
mm,
achievements, and everyone laughed at him. And now they're bringing it back and up, going, all of them are bringing it up, going, maybe Jose was being serious. This team was a shambles. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? Like, maybe he was trying to show, listen, the Glazers don't support. Remember, he was trying to get rid of Marshall. Didn't want him. Said he wasn't
mm.
good enough. And now, Everyone's saying he's not good enough, aren't they? Like
and Pogba
Pogba,
as
he
well, to
didn't
be
want
fair.
Pogba. Pogba got given to him. He admitted it.
Mm.
He said, "I rocked up Pogba. They said, here's a shiny new toy." He didn't want him, and now
Mm.
everyone went against Mourinho, didn't they? They went against him, picked Pogba. When you think, mate, maybe we should have picked the guy that was a serial winner, but you know, who knows? Rob says Nketiah at Arsenal is looking for a contract, but I think he's another forward. Yeah, he's a winger. And Jonathan David, I've heard a lot about David, but haven't seen heaps of him.
Mm.
Don't know.
Well, look, we're gonna need a striker as well, by
Oh,
the looks of
definitely.
things. Is so
And
because Greenwood doesn't look like he's going to come back
don't
anytime
think so.
soon.
No.
Rashford is big question marks about him. Ronaldo could be leaving. Cavani's probably definitely
Yeah.
leaving. And yeah, we went from about 4 or 5 strikers to nearly next to none within
Oh,
6 months.
definitely. So Rob says Sir Alex endorsed Ji-sung Park as one of his most underrated players. So that says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Says it
definitely.
all. But that's what we're saying. Get these players that actually want to give, not
Yeah, you want to play.
like
Play
even
for the
in
patch.
in that same team we're talking about. I remember, you had players in there. I'll name three of them, for example. Ji-sung Park, we said, Carlos Tevez, and Wayne Rooney.
Mhm.
If you had them three shutting you down, you were you had hell to pay. You know what I mean? That they
Mm.
just worked so hard, and now we have nothing like that. But we got Rooney coming out now saying Rashford's got to get his head out of his ass, and this is his ex-captain. So what is that
Mm.
saying about our club at the moment? It's yeah. Chris says, did Ronaldo hit that kid? I don't know if anyone's heard about it, but I think the kid was
Mm.
trying to take photos of him in his face or something, and he grabbed the phone and smashed it on the ground.
Yeah, well,
That's what I
there's
think.
an
Yeah, I don't know.
investigation going on. There is an investigation going. I've seen the footage. It looks like
Did he smash the phone? Is that what it is?
obviously Ronaldo was frustrated walking into the tunnels, getting heckled by the Everton fans walking
Yeah,
through, and he just swiped at the
yeah. At the
at this
phone.
kid's hand and knocked the phone out of his hand and smashed his phone, and the kid looked pretty shocked,
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah,
it. Then the other fans were just heckling him straight away, but someone caught it on footage, and yeah, like the kid's got a bruise on his hand
yeah.
now. So it's not as brush off as you think.
No.
He actually he struck a
Yeah,
child and hit the phone out of his hand. So he could be well, I wouldn't say he's on deep water, but
yeah.
he might have to pay a fine here
Oh,
or
he'll be
do
paying
something.
something, definitely. Is it that
Obviously compensate that kid for
well, he
something as
said, he
well.
goes, I'll
So
bring you to Old Trafford. He goes, I'll put you for free. He said it. He said some stuff like, I don't know what, but buy him a
mm.
Bentley, mate. Buy him a
I mean, look,
Bentley. You're Ronaldo. You look after him.
Ronaldo cares.
Of
Obviously, he
course.
cares. It shows that he cares. But look, he's not the Ronaldo of 28, 29, 30.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And he can't carry United on his
yeah,
shoulders. He can't create chances for himself. Without the team's
yeah,
help. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, you were talking about that front three
yeah.
before, and obviously the front three we
Oh,
have now, like an
pales in
aging
comparison.
Ronaldo, and Rashford, and Sancho, and that. It's just not the
No
same, is
way.
it? It's
No
like,
way. Rob
nah.
Rob says he feels for CR7. You're totally pissed off at losing, and some disrespectful fan invades your personal space. And then Chris says, "Yeah, true, but you got to be professional at all times." Well, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell
You
you a
have to.
story,
You
big man.
have to.
I think it was 2007. A fan invaded Wayne Rooney's personal space and put a camera in his wife's face, and Wayne Rooney knocked him out and did not get in trouble for it because,
I wouldn't say this is invading a space. The
yeah, I
kid is
know
not
this
in
is a
the
bit
tunnel.
different.
He's just
Yeah,
hanging over
it is
the
a bit
edge. You
different.
know what I mean?
So even a
Yeah.
fellow fan favorite of yours, Chris, man, a fan invaded his space, Dean Brogan, and he knocked him out at Adelaide Airport and didn't get in trouble. So I get what they're saying. If they do get in your space, Rob is saying KP will do the same after losing a game. Probably me too, he reckons. But we didn't have kid fans with phones, getting in our face. That's the thing. I get he was pissed off, but he probably just went to hit the
Yeah.
phone, like you're saying. Maybe touch the kid's hand and whatever.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
high
he's got
profile
to
and
make
highly
up.
paid, like Rob's saying. So
Yeah,
you know,
he's got to make up for the kid,
go
I
buy the
guess.
family a Rolls Royce or something, man. You're Ronaldo. Like seriously.
Yeah, just donate something, buy him a new phone, and
like,
give him some cash or
like
something, and yeah, it'll be
you're
fine.
Ronaldo. Give the dad a Ferrari or something. Like seriously, well, it's not, you're not gonna know.
The guy's worth hundreds of millions. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
You're
So
not gonna notice. So, but
yeah,
all right. So we've pretty much come on tonight just to rant at how bad our team is. So
yeah.
in going forward, you've pretty much said you've said the players have checked out for you. So what does the rest of the season hold for us? What does the next game hold for? We've got Norwich next game, who are dead bottom, and then we've got,
Mm.
I believe, Liverpool, Arsenal back to back. What what what's in it for us? What do you see happening?
Obviously, we can't go out there and get smashed every game.
Norwich beat Burnley.
So he's not
Norwich
going to
beat
put.
Burnley last night.
I know. And look, we're playing against a Norwich team who are desperate again,
Exactly.
and I can just see Norwich getting something out of the game. It's just pathetic. Like, we made Everton look good. We've made Burnley look good. We've made Leicester look good twice this season. We just managed to make teams who have been playing absolute crap look good. So I've got no expectations in these games
Yeah.
ahead. I think the Liverpool game we're just going to get absolutely
You
demolished.
know, it wouldn't it be good if we could just
Uh,
beat Liverpool so they don't win the title? I don't care. Honestly, I wouldn't
uh,
care if we lost every other game. Just beat Liverpool so they
I
don't
think
match your titles.
Rob in the chat will be probably going for United
Yep.
that game, but we're going to let you
But
down,
what I'm
Rob.
saying
So
is,
that's
if they win the title, John, they're going to equal our titles as well. So they should be.
I think it's inevitable. I honestly think it's inevitable because it's only going to be Liverpool and City for the next couple of years
Yeah,
at
I
least,
agree.
and
But
so I think it's
don't they
inevitable.
have that in them, man? We've got to stop them from matching these,
No,
because they don't care.
because
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
they don't care.
yeah.
No.
Rob says if he was the parent, he'd forgive the kid for a Ferrari and a Kawasaki as well. Yeah, me too. So, and then Chris says there any.
But that's what you'd be
Yeah, of
doing. You'd be like,
course,
Ronaldo,
bro.
come on, man.
Course,
Buy us a house or something.
course.
You know what I
Chris
mean?
says there any silver lining. We've pretty much said there isn't. And then Rob says, as a coach, what do you think Ranić will do? And I'm not going to say he would do this, but me and you, we spoke about it before. He had Hannibal on the
Mm,
bench, who played in the African Cup for Tunisia, so he plays for his
mm,
country. Play Hannibal.
yeah.
And he's got, apparently, there's a kid, Garnacho, that went on international duty. He plays in our reserves with Argentina. He's one of the only few
Hmm.
players now that is allowed to say he's played with Ronaldo and Messi. Put him in. Put Garnacho in. Put Hannibal in. Put some youngsters in, mate.
Mm.
Go get a young centre back. Apparently, is it what's the striker's name? There's a striker, Charlie McNeil, I think, is doing things like Mason Greenwood was doing a couple of years ago, like just scoring for fun. Put him
Yeah,
in.
yeah. I've heard his name get chucked
Put him
around.
in. Put in the youngsters, man.
Mm.
Show these guys, like even Vidic came out today and said, drop Harry Maguire. like,
I mean, if you hear it from the mania, then you should
I
listen,
don't know
really,
how
shouldn't
where
you?
else to go. Like you're one of your all-time greats, same position, has come out and said you got to drop this guy. He goes,
Look,
even if it's only for a couple games, he goes, you have to drop him.
how many people can you have on the bench now? I think it's
Yeah, I think
extended.
it's 9. I
It's
think it's 9 now.
what would I do? I'd put all 9 first team members that have been playing shit on the bench so they can
Yep,
watch the
100%,
youngsters
and watch
play.
them give some effort. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah,
I'd make a point. I'd make a big point so the whole world would see that these players have been dropped
100%.
because they're just not
The
good
the
enough.
only like we've said it, the only player that pretty much doesn't deserve to be dropped is De Gea. I mean, and we said it. Listen, Ronaldo has scored 20 goals, so I mean, he's done his
Mm,
job this year. I mean, the other night we watched it. Did the team create a chance for Ronaldo? No, I don't think they did. Like,
mm,
what's he meant to do? He's not
mm,
Superman. So
mm.
Rob says, yeah, United need to start a rebuild now. It's same as AFL, NRL. If your season is over, give the youngsters a chance. Like we're saying, plan for next season. You're not
Mm.
getting relegated.
Especially with Ranić, you got nothing to lose. You're not going to be the manager.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So
Yep. So, like it's just, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've been saying it the whole time. He's not going to be the manager. He's not. The worst they can do is sack him, and then they're just going to look like pinheads anyway. It'll completely out the
yeah,
Glazers. So just you know, do what you got to
yeah.
do.
So
Yeah. And then Rob
it'll be
says,
better for the
sorry,
club.
keep going. What were you saying?
It'll be better for the club as well if they can give some game time to these young players. It gives them instills hope in
Yeah.
them, and that they're playing for a chance to play for the first team. So all these players that are playing for under 23s and 19s and
Yeah.
all that, their end goal was to play for our first team. So if they can see, well, hang on, we got a chance,
Yeah,
and they
of
get given the
course.
chance, then it it makes more confidence within the
Of
whole squad.
course.
So I think play the kids, man,
No, I
and
agree.
you can't
I
go wrong.
agree. Rob says, a decent assistant coach makes a huge difference, unlike Fletcher or whoever Ranick's advisors are. And we touched on it. The example I'll give is Sir Alex Ferguson had Steve McLaren, Brian Kidd, Rene Mullenstein, Carlos
Mm,
Queiroz, all failed
mm,
as managers. But as assistant managers, you hear people like Rooney,
mm,
Ferdinand, they talk about Mullenstein, Queiroz, McLaren, say that these guys were the best, the best assistant managers. And the thing was, Ferguson
mm,
kept changing them, didn't let it get stale. You know what I mean?
mm.
Never held them back from wanting to go on and always had a classy football assistant manager. And mate, with the talk, they're saying McLaren to come with Ten Hag. I'll take him. I'll take
Yeah,
him.
definitely.
Like get Fletcher off that bench. I know he's a club icon, but mate, you got no right being there. Get away. Get out of it. Like Ranick doesn't even know what your role is.
It's like a water boy. Just don't
Ah,
know what he does.
it's so bad. It's just such a
Mm.
shame to see. But oh, we've pretty much touched on everything, man. We've got to vent a bit, which is good. We'll go in. So what we'll say is now the thing we'll end on is are United gonna beat Norwich? It's at Old Trafford. I mean, do we lose to 20th place Norwich at home? Like is that as low as it gets? Like if we lose to them?
I mean, if you're a betting man, you wouldn't bet on this game
No
at all
way.
because it's
No.
just that unpredictable. Like you'd expect the Man United players to have a response to the way they played. But if I was a coach, I wouldn't even give them that chance to respond. I would be like, you've lost your
Yeah.
privilege to play the rest of this season. And yeah, I would say straight out to a lot of the players. I wouldn't say it to all of them. I think a few players like Delo, obviously Varane,
Yeah.
Fred, Alanga, even Sancho, I'll probably
Yeah, I
keep
agree. I agree
playing.
with all of
But
them. That's it.
and probably Ronaldo, because we've got no striker anyway.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I would say, hey, sit down, put your feet up because you're not
Oh, I
playing.
agree.
You've run your race, and it's time for these boys to have a chance. And yeah, so against Norwich, look, we should be beating Norwich. Obviously, we'll be favourites, but anyone's guess,
Well,
man. I could honestly see us
I
losing,
know,
and
man.
I can
I
see us
know.
winning.
Well, I
Play
said
to
it to
win.
you last week, and I said it to everyone in the chat. There's one rule I always go with and I dabble in my gambling, whatever. There's one rule I always go in. Don't bet against a team that's fighting for their lives. And look, Everton beat
Yeah, I mean,
us, and now we're playing another team that's fighting for their lives even more. Mate, and like you said, and then Rob said, I want to see the odds for Pookie to get a hat trick at Old Trafford. And mate, I'd take that bet before picking United. I would, because I would not, we should win, but there's no guarantees, man. Like,
I wish I could like talk to some of the players and just say, hey, man, do you care? Like, what's going on?
yeah.
Like, tell me what's going on. Like, what are the other players saying? Is there just a plan to play like
Like,
this,
what I don't
or
get is they all go to international duty and they go in there and hanging out with Liverpool players and surely the Liverpool players are like paying them out. You know what players are like. Like we would be like that. We'd be giving them shit. Like you would be. Like I just don't. Like
Because Jota's Portuguese,
yeah,
isn't he?
Portuguese. Yep. He'd be with Ronaldo and
So he'll be talking
Fernandez.
to
Yep.
Bruno. You got Maguire talking to obviously
Yep.
Henderson and Sterling's and Foden's
Exactly. Like
and
all these guys that
so
are doing well. Like
mm,
it's a shambles. But I agree, man. I don't think there's you can't call the Norwich game, and then I agree we're gonna get spanked by Liverpool. Arsenal have
yeah.
tapered off. I think Tottenham are bang on for Champions League now. That they're spanking everyone. Like, and it just shows why didn't we get Conte? Like, mate, look at them. Gave him a couple bit of time, and he's spanking everyone, bro.
They're coming good right at the business
But
end, you know what I mean? So Tottenham are in box
exactly.
seat. I don't know how Arsenal dropped the ball
Yeah,
their
but
last
they just
couple
don't
games.
have the squad. Whereas Tottenham now have got no injuries, and they got a manager that knows how to win, and we just let
Yeah.
him go. Yep, that's it.
And somehow Chelsea will get third by
Yeah,
hanging
they're
on
hanging
somehow.
on. They'll get in there, but God knows what's going to happen with their sale and that. But I mean,
Mm.
we're a joke. Liverpool going to smash us.
Well, we can't go as low as eighth. I think is that I saw the table. I was thinking it'd be pretty hard for us to go
Well, I
ninth.
want us to finish. I
So
do not want to play Europa Conference. I don't mind if
mm,
we're in the Europa League because it gives Ranić a chance to try new players because you can be playing teams like Astana and things like that. And then maybe he can try win something, you know what I mean? So Rob says Foden runs backwards faster than Maguire during England trainings. I wouldn't put it past him. So yeah, so
I run faster than Maguire, Rob. So that says everything.
exactly. John does run faster than him. So yeah, I mean we've touched on that. We've both said this is probably the first. I don't ever think in our life me and you would have said, "Hey man, we're playing Norwich on the weekend at Old Trafford," and we've both said, "Don't bet on United." And we're on a Man
No.
United show, like, and we're saying it. So we'll end the show on that bombshell. We'll read a few chats before we go. Good luck
Hmm.
to your AFL and soccer teams this weekend, Mr. Lachlan says. We'll be talking about the AFL ones tomorrow, man, and then me and Rob will be doing the World Cup podcast Wednesday night for everyone else that wants to get in and have a look at that. Should be a really good show. And yeah, that's it, man. Thanks for everyone for coming. You know, we got to get a bit off our chest. It was a depressing weekend, and we're going to be back tomorrow to talk about our other team
Try not to
depressing.
get too invested in your sports
Now, don't
teams.
listen to him.
So that's
That's
the
what I
advice.
do. So we're going to be back tomorrow to talk about a different sport where our team let us down again. So,
I'm looking forward to the big man talking about his team. So
well,
um,
officially, Port the only team not to win now in the league because of Crow. Is
I
that
know
why
that's.
Crows threw the game? Isn't it? Because they just wanted Essendon to have a win and Port not to have one.
Oh, I can't wait to
Uh,
hear his explanations tomorrow.
yeah,
And
that's it. Well, Chris says tonight should be good. Rob says have a great night. Zakal says take care. See everyone tomorrow. And yeah, like I said, guys,
see you tomorrow,
if there's
boys.
any new people, like, share, comment, subscribe. Catch our AFL show tomorrow and our World Cup podcast on Wednesday. Thanks everyone for watching.
Peace.